All right, everybody, let's go ahead and get started. Let's first tune in, get grounded. Since we're going to be talking about intuition tonight, let's get connected to our heart straight away. I want you to take 3 big inhales. And as you exhale, do it with the sound of ah. Let your hands touch your heart. Ah. Release all of the stress of the day. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Have some water near you. We are going to have some fun tonight. We are going to do a little bit of fact sharing. We are going to do some activities so that you can actually have some practical skills that you can take with you. I am going to turn my fan off. It is on auto, and I lit my candle. And so now, intuitively, the fan turns on, which is great, but I don't need it right now. It's loud. So this is coming up to the pinnacle or the end of our summer of self-love. And so I thought, what better way to sign off the summer of self-love? Let me give it just a second. Sabia. Yay. Hi, sweetie. Hi, Sabia. So what better way to kick off, or excuse me, end our summer of self-love than with intuition? So we talked through all through the summer, going through our 5 senses, right? Our sight, our sound, our touch, our hearing, and our taste. And intuition is our 6th sense. And as I have mentioned in some different things that I have been talking about as I promoted the workshop tonight, a lot of people think that they don't have intuition, that they can't tap into their intuition, but it is something that we have innately. We are all born with that 6th sense. So one of the things that I want to be able to make sure that we do tonight is to allow you to come in and feel that. We're going to give you some different ways to test it. We're going to give you some different ways to strengthen that muscle so that you can go forth into your life, practice using it. It is so empowering. It makes life so much easier. And it is just a beautiful thing. So what is intuition? So when I looked up the definition, let me read the definition. The ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning. We shall allow our intuition to guide us, is the example that they gave. It's also a thing that one knows or considers likely from instinctive feeling rather than conscious reasoning. All right, so that's fine. That's a nice little example of what it is, right? So what isn't our intuition? How do we differentiate? When do we know that it's intuition or when it's not intuition? So when it's not intuition, when it's something else, it's a nagging little voice. It's a quip little voice. It is a criticizing little voice, something that makes you feel bad about yourself or shaming or is kind of life negating, or it's when you get caught up in groupthink. Oh, yeah, I'm going to do that. Yeah. Where you just kind of get swept up, or you think you should do that. And a lot of us as parents get caught up in that, that we feel like we should be doing something. That is not your intuition. That is guilt. So why is it important? Why is it helpful? This is all well and good. What's in it for me, right? So intuition actually can really help us navigate life's challenges. There are so many different pieces of information coming at us constantly, right? Like a fire hose. And so our intuition, our instinct, our higher self, our inner knowing can help us to break through that. We call this negative thought waswasa. Did I get that right? Did I pronounce that right? Say it again. Say it for me. Waswasa? Is that right? You're okay, cool. You're probably in the middle of something and I can't really talk. So awesome. Oh, that's good to know. Thank you for that. You just added to my vocabulary. So it helps us, our intuition, or our waswasa, helps us to make decisions that we will not regret. It helps ease of life. It saves you from making mistakes that were not meant for you. That path was not meant for you. It helps us to muffle all of that outside noise. It helps reduce the overwhelm from chaos. It helps us to have an inner freedom and an exuberance when we know that we can trust ourselves. You know, in all of the master classes that I've done, we talk about competence, right? It helps us feel competent, self-confident in ourselves. It reminds us that we are connected to a source that is bigger than us, that only wants our best interest. It guides us when it's best to take action or when it's not best to take any action. It helps us to know when to talk and when to listen, also a big thing. So it also allows us then, this last one I'll share, to feel more excitement in the decisions that we make or the direction that we take rather than dread. So a lot of times when we make the wrong decision, you feel it right away. Buyer's remorse, just dread. So intuition is that positive, life-affirming, helping us move forward kind of thing. So intuition can also be called your North Star. It can be called your internal compass, your instinct, your higher wisdom, your truth, your authentic voice. There are lots and lots and lots of different ways. The negative thought is waswasa. Okay, I'm not going to keep using it then in the positive. Oh, awesome. Okay. But intuition can be called lots of different things. And so what are the steps that we take to think about if it's going to be our intuition or not? So like with everything else, right? You have to be intentional with your thought. You have to be present in your body. You have to be present in your mind. And when you become present, that automatically just kind of shuts things out, or at least makes you more aware of what the outside noise might be or the environment might be. It helps you kind of get a lay of the land, and it helps you actually get to take in more information when you are present in the moment. So that silence, that stillness puts you in the right frame of mind to then be able to ask yourself the question. You're asking for guidance, you're asking what you should do, whether you're using an internal voice or an external voice, or it's just your heart saying, what should I do? And then the biggest thing and the hardest thing is to take a breath and listen for the answer. And it takes a lot of practice to be able to start building up the trust to know that it is the right thing for you, because it certainly may not feel like it's the right thing for you. It may certainly not be what you want, but it is the best and highest response for your best and highest good. It is the right response for you at the right time. So when we tap in and listen to this, or when you don't tap in, when you do not tap into your intuition, when you just continue to go on your life, kind of like a zombie, then you're actually hiding from your truth, and you're hiding from the best that your life wants it to become. Because when you do listen to your intuition, it helps you to take the focus and to take the direction that you're meant to go. So as it relates to kind of being a parent, or as it relates to being a partner, or as it relates to your own self-care, intuition is something that can certainly benefit others as well. But it comes from your heart. So it is your truth. So you can ask yourself, my son wants to go to hang out with his friends at the mall. you can ask yourself, your intuition, is that the right thing? What we need to be able to do eventually is to teach our kids how to do this for themselves as well. And I'll talk to you more about that here at the end, because there are some tips and the tools and techniques that we can use for that. I also wanted to share my screen because there is this amazing Einstein quote. Let me share this. That's not it. There we go. Okay. Yes. So my best friend, Mr. Einstein, the intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. And isn't that the truth? We honor the logical, rational mind. And my friend Sabia, I know that that is a huge part of your world. It is also that strong intuition that you have, that strong bedside manner, that strong intuition that you have as a mother of that gorgeous family of yours that allows you to be able to move forward through your day and in the best and highest good for everybody. So I commend you on that. So we as human beings are a dwelling species. That means we congregate together, we live in community, we act in community. And because of that, it's so easy for us. We are so incredibly susceptible to groupthink. We do that because of societal pressures, because it's so easy to shift then into consensus mode, because that's safe. And that's how we can be part of a community, right? That's how we can feel that, instead of going against the grain, going against, if we're just the sheep and we keep moving forward, then everything is fine. But if somebody starts to stir the pot and goes off path, then something is wrong, and then you're not part of the community anymore. And I know that we have all felt that in the past, but we have to do what is best for us. And I'm going to talk more about that in just a second too. And so we emotionally shield ourselves from having to feel that discomfort of being a part of the crowd. And that's why oftentimes we have just learned to shut down our intuition, because we just go with the flow because it's easier. But it's time. It's time. It's time to stand up for ourselves. It's time to stand up for our own truths. So we're going to talk about how to practice that. And people in marketing know this, right? They totally play to the group think. They totally play to feeling safe. They totally play to don't feel uncomfortable. If you just do this, if you just take this, if you just do this, then you're going to be just fine. And if you start to feel uncomfortable, then that means you're living life too hard. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. So if we want to be able to navigate through tough times, then we have to do things differently. And we need to be able to trust ourselves that we have the right answers within us. And we need to know that we can tap into that intuition at any time. So I'm going to give you 5 practical tips today on how you can strengthen that intuition and figure out, is this intuition? Is this not intuition? And, really hone in on, is that my intuition that is guiding me? Sabia, give me a thumbs up if you are able to talk at all. If you're not, that's okay too. I know that it's very, very late. Or actually, it's very early, isn't it? It's okay if you're not able to. That's fine. Okay. So, yeah, no worries. So, when we talk about our intuition, it is this, I'm going to give you the permission, let your inner control freak go on vacation. We are just going to tap into your intuition. We are going to give the control mind, we are going to give the control freak some time off, and we are going to hone in. The biggest block that we have for our intuition or listening to your vibes or however you want to call it is that we deny that it even exists, or we deny that it is really the truth. And so that it can be trusted. So we have to be able to build up our stamina on how much we trust our intuition. So it is really best to start with baby steps, because as we also know, the opposite of intuition is the egoic mind. Ego isn't bad. Ego keeps us protected. Ego is part of being a human. But when the ego gets challenged to make changes, it reacts very harshly. So that can be seen in whenever you try to change a habit, whether it's, you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to be more organized, you're trying to adopt some kind of new healthy habit, new exercise regime, or meal planning or whatever. When you disrupt the status quo of the ego mind, it starts to fight back. So the same thing with intuition. When we start to shift the control away from the egoic mind, which has been in charge and makes all of the decisions, then there's going to be a little battle. It's going to make you question everything. Are you sure? Are you sure? I don't know. I don't think that's right. But we need to just be able to, little by little. There is no super speedy hack. There is no extra fast way to do this. You can't bypass. You just have to slowly and surely start to trust yourself and trust that intuition more and more. So how can we do that? A lot of what you need to be able to do is just kind of shift out of the old habits, or what I like to call shift your orbit. So one way that you can do that, or a couple different ways that you can do that, is get out in nature more, because that takes you away from the outside noise of all of the information coming at you at all the time. And you can actually just start appreciating, again, tapping into the 5 senses, so that allows you to more easily jump into that 6th sense. That is fantastic. Intuition journaling. So just being able to start journaling. Some people do free journaling. Some people do, you'll ask yourself a question. Why am I feeling so crappy today? Or why am I feeling so irritated with my husband today? Or why is my daughter triggering me so much today? And just start writing. And that free writing, once you kind of get into that groove, also allows you to just kind of and that is your intuition coming out. That's without the other barriers that are there. Also, listening to your dreams. I'm not really great at that, but some people really are. I sleep really hard. And so although I know that I'm dreaming, because that's what the human brain does, I don't really remember my dreams. A lot of people do, and that is another great way to tap into your intuition, by listening to or trying to make sense of your dream, or trying to interpret your dream, because it will tell you a lot. Then there's also body language. So, they call intuition or instinct your gut reaction, right? Most people don't actually hear a voice when you hear intuition. Most of the time, it's some kind of body sensation. So whether that is an actual like fluttering in your stomach, or yes, that's it, or a lot of people get tingles or goosebumps, that is your intuition. People call it, the spidey sense. A lot of times when you're very fearful, like approaching a dark alley and your spidey sense, you're tingling, that's your intuition telling you not to go that way. So there's no one rhyme or reason. And this is one of the really fun things about your intuition, is that you get to start exploring, and different meanings, different responses have different meanings in your body. And again, most people have it somatic versus clairaudient, with the messages that come through. So with that, the next thing to do is to really start journaling about it. And that can even be just like voice memo. So when you are out and about, you always have your phone with you. Most people do. When something happens, when you have a question and you listen to your intuition, whether you have intentionally tapped in or not, you'll get a message. Record that, whether you listen to the message and what it told you, or you don't listen to the message and what it told you, and then what the outcome was. How did you feel about it, either listening to it or not listening to it? What, if it was, should I get the romaine or should I get the spinach? Listen to your intuition, record the outcome, and that begins to also document kind of how you were feeling or what allowed you to make the decision that you did. And that will start becoming the evidence that you build upon to realize how your body talks to you, how your intuition talks to you, and that you can start trusting yourself. So, that was a very, very simplified one. What about if there is, and if you have anything in the chat, you can throw up in the chat of different things that you have used. There was one tonight, it wasn't a question that I had to ask, but I was finishing up a little bit of work, and I had put pizza in the oven for my son. And suddenly I remembered, oh shit, I put the pizza in. It's way overdone. Ran downstairs. Sure enough, I burned the pizza, but I hadn't yet started to smell it. It was just, oh yeah, the little voice in my head. And maybe that was my ego, actually, not my intuition, or maybe it was a combination thereof, because there was that niggly little oh at the end. Anywho, it's really cool and it's amazing, especially when you start to think about it. So for people that haven't used it a lot or haven't used it in a very, very long time, there are also, as I mentioned, some tools that you can use to start practicing, to start feeling more confident. And these are things that are readily available everywhere. So there's something called muscle testing. And this is much easier to do with two people. And I was going to have Kyler help me with it, but one of his buddies called, and so he's playing with his buddy. But for muscle testing, this can be anything. Some of the examples that I have seen articulated in books and things are about vitamins or food or a type of exercise. So you can ask yourself, ask your body, is this vitamin good for me? And then in a perfect world, you'll have two people. You just put out your arm. You don't have to be super strict or super safe or super strong. You're just putting it out there with natural resistance. Then the person will come and push down. You'll ask the question, is this vitamin good for me? They will gently push down, but with enough force to be able to move it if in fact it's going to move. Is this good for me? If it goes down, that is a negative. So that is a no. If it is good for you and that is a yes, your arm won't move. And it's not as though you're forcing it. Again, you can go back to, should I do burpees today or should I run around the block? Should I do burpees? No. Should I run around the block? Yes. And it is pretty fail-proof, fail-safe. I've never known anybody and have never had the experience that anybody has been able to fake their way through that. So that is one way as you are starting to build your stamina. There is also something that a lot of people do called dowsing. And this is, you can use anything. It doesn't have to be a fancy pendulum. You can do this with a necklace. You can do this with, I just have this cute little thing on a string. But this is something, so you'll hold it in your hand so that it can get your vibe. It knows kind of the energy that you're putting out, if you will. And you can ask it a question. Should I have a smoothie for breakfast tomorrow? And for me, mine spins around, and it might be different for every person. Mine spins around in a circle, if that's a yes. should I have waffles tomorrow for breakfast? And if you can see at the very, very top, I'm just holding it. I am not moving it at all. It's just the energy, and that's a negative. That's a back and forth motion. So that works for a lot of people as well. And then another one that is super popular and gaining in popularity by looking at Amazon and all of the freaking things that are available to you, you can use oracle cards or tarot cards. There is basically a tarot card or an oracle card deck for any interest that you may have. So with this, again, it's personal. You, when you get them, you let them know that, let the cards know, let the guides know that this is for your energy. You can cleanse them of and thank anybody who was involved in bringing these into your home. So the Amazon man or woman that brought this in, the people that got it to the distribution center, the people that created it, the people that printed it, thank you very much for all of your assistance. I cleanse the energy. And there are a bunch of different ways that you can do that. But I now look forward to connecting with you, you connecting with me so that you get to know my energy and helping me with my intuition. And most oracle cards have a book that go along with it, and it will give you different tips on how to initiate the cards into your world. And then I just do this, and a card that jumps out. Let's see. What message do you have for us tonight that is in our best and highest good? So this is for our collective community. And there typically is a card that will jump out. There, that guy jumped out. Sometimes they even fall down. So this says, decisions, higher self. You can't even make this up. Does that not scream intuition? I just love it. I just love it. It's so incredibly empowering. It is so, like, gives you so much hope that you can actually help to make your life so much better. So just for giggles, let me read a little bit of what it says. Decisions, higher self, confusion, quandary, ambivalence, or juggling. You're faced with many choices and you aren't sure what to do. Leave or stay in a job, terminate or recommit to a relationship, stop or continue a creative project, go to work or stay at home with the kids. Life is an endless stream of choices, and doing what's best is never a simple thing. Fortunately, your higher self can help you resolve these difficult decisions, especially if you're willing to let some of the balls that you juggle drop to the wayside for now. The key to making the best choices is simply to follow your heart. This is gonna make me cry. You guys saw. I can't, that's not, I didn't do anything. Oh, simply follow your heart and attend only to what you care about right now. Focus on your priorities that feed your spirit, and don't become overwhelmed by the demands and expectations of others. I'm just saying. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. I love this. So there are lots of tools that you can use to, again, start building your trust, building your confidence in your own connection, and intuition. And you can ask any question about anything. It is best to always keep things in the positive. So, and asking simple questions with like a simple answer. Don't throw too much into a question just because you want a clear and succinct response. So it's almost like talking to AI, if any of you have done that, or typing in commands or whatever. The more clear and succinct you are in your messaging, just like when we talk with our children, the more clear and succinct the response will be, or direct, or simplified. so that there's no ambiguity, there's no miscommunication. Okay, so I talked about shifting your orbit. Get outside, shift your orbit, get out of your normal daily routine, because when we're in our normal daily routine, it's so easy to get caught up in the same repetitive habits and decisions that we continually make. So if you can shift your orbit and change that up a little bit, it's going to be easier to, because of the more presence of mind, because things are different or look a little bit different or your routine's a little different, it's going to be much more easy to be present and listening. People also, when you are, again, kind of building your confidence, you learn from the past. You take the information from the past and how you have done things in the past, and when things have worked out well or things have not worked out well. And a lot of the intuition that we have is based upon prior results. And if we can feel more and think less, we are actually then thinking outside of our brain, where our brain is trapped by our skull. Our true intuition and our true self, our compass is, our North Star is much bigger and broader than just within our skull. So that's what they mean about when they say think outside of the box, think outside of your skull. Your intuition is much more enveloping and open than just the subconscious thoughts that we have that are stuck in our skull. Another way to tap in to your intuition, if you've got a problem that you're ruminating on and you're not really sure how to handle it, stepping away from that overthinking, start doing something repetitive, chopping vegetables, jumping up and down on a trampoline if you have that, ironing, doing the dishes, scrubbing something, just something that has repetitive motion. Again, also writing allows the brain to kind of calm down and allows things to slow down enough that it shuts the other noise down and the intuition can flow. The other thing to do is to make sure that when you are asking a question or when you're looking for a response to something, that you are aligned with your own values. So, I really don't know if I should take that job or if I should start a relationship with that person. So looking at your own values then, I really value family time, and that job is really going to take me, I'm going to have to work a lot more than I have been, so it's really going to take me away from my family. Or that person, although they seem like a whole lot of fun, they love to go out a lot, so that takes me away from my family. So the intuition will also be able to be informed by your values. Or if you're tapping into that allows the intuition to come through a little bit more clearly based upon your values. So there are also some questions. I have 7 questions here to help develop your intuition. And I'm going to put this in the community tomorrow just so that everybody can see it as they're seeing the replay. And those 7 questions are: does this feel like the right thing to do? And again, you can muscle test, you can use your pendulum, you can ask yourself and put your hands on one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly and see if you can feel that. Does this seem like the right thing to do? And you'll get an answer. And typically it's immediate. Does this seem like the right answer? Again, you're going to get an immediate hit. When it takes too long, that's typically when your ego mind starts to take over because it's thinking instead of feeling what your heart really wants. How do you feel when you think about blank situation? So how do you feel when you think about your son starting to date that girl? How do you feel about the amount of time that your son has been on the screens? Is this a problem? How do you feel about them having a bologna sandwich again tomorrow for lunch? How do you feel about going? There's that dress that you really, really, really want, but it's really, really expensive. How do you really feel about it? Is this something that your heart truly, truly wants, and is you're going to be able to use it at, going to this meeting or going to that thing? Or is this just because it's something that you want and not need? So you can use it in all kinds of different situations. What was your gut reaction? So again, it's going to be that instantaneous hit. Do you have a hunch about that? Again, you're going to know right away. Where in your body do you notice that reaction? So when you start asking yourself that, for different questions and for different scenarios, you're going to feel different things you're going to feel things in your body in different places. So that is also something, it's a body map that you can start mapping out, whether it's the positive or the negative, affirmative or negative. It depends on the situation. If you did know, this is a great question to ask. So self, if you did know the answer, what would it be? So if you start getting caught up in overthinking, okay, let's just get to the chase. Body, mind, intuition, higher self, authentic self, whatever you want to call it. If you know the answer, what would it be? Just flat out ask. There you go. All right. And again, I'll post those because those are good to have. You can even throw those on your phone when you are out and about and faced with something. Okay. So the best thing to do really is to just start asking yourself questions all the time. You can ask even just to start practicing, should I brush my teeth with my left hand today or my right hand today? You never know. And there's really no wrong answer, and you can't lose. So just listening, you'll start to become more aware. I mean, it can be as simple as that. Should I have sunflower seeds on my salad today or hemp seeds on my salad today? I mean, completely innocuous things, but again, just start building that muscle. So when it comes to your intuition, you just really have to get into practice with it. You just have to get comfortable with it. And it can take time. So especially for people that are highly sensitive or highly intuitive, a lot of time throughout your life, you've probably had to shut that down or like tamp it down or dampen it, because it can also be incredibly overwhelming, again, if you don't know how to really work with it. So there are plenty of exercises that you can do. Again, journal, make note of it. Expect the best. So once you start to realize that the universe really is conspiring for you, it is one of those really life-affirming things. And again, as we talked about at the very, very beginning, your intuition can give you an answer that you didn't want to hear, but is in your best interest. So again, expect that it is the best for you. It is not trying to punish you. It is not trying to keep you away from something that you really, really want just because it's trying to be, the arrogant, controlling, authoritative parent. It really is in your best interest. So get rid of the fear of making mistakes. Get rid of the fear that you're going to do something wrong or that you're not doing it right. Just see what's really out there for yourself, and know that you have this skill and that it really is something that helps you in many, many, many ways throughout your life. So I'm going to leave you with a couple of affirmations and then we'll be done. Affirmations help to strengthen the belief and trust. And that's probably the biggest obstacle to people not using their intuition. That is the dog scratching at the door. So one affirmation is, my intuition is always guiding me. I trust myself and my inner knowing. So you can say that a few times a day, several times throughout the day. You can put that on your phone. My intuition is always guiding me, and I trust myself and my inner knowing. Another one is, today I am calm and grounded in my body. That's always very helpful for just becoming more peaceful and more present and more calm and safe in your body. There are a lot of people who are not safe in their bodies, and so they're not going to trust what they hear. So one of the first things that you really do need to do is to be able to trust in yourself and trust in your body. So today I am calm and grounded in my body. Okay. So I want to be able to have you ask any questions that you may have. And if not, then I will bid you adieu. Any questions? All right. Well, you can always ask questions, obviously, in the community. I am there for you. The recording will be up. We're not going to get rid of this recording. This is a good one. This is one that we should be able to all go back to over and over and over again. And I'll get a transcript of this up in a couple of days, maybe kind of a busy day tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be able to get the transcript up tomorrow, but I'll definitely get the replay up tomorrow. All right. Thank you so much. From my heart to yours. I love you guys. Keep up the great work. Use that intuition. Talk to you soon. Bye.